In the name of the Father, Yahweh, in the name of the Son, Yahweh Shah, his Messiah, captain of his hosts and of his armies. Shabbat Shalom to those of you to where it's the Shabbat around the world, wherever you are. Greeting. As we go into the word of the Most High tonight, we'll be continuing our study in the book of Isaiah. And we'll be looking at Isaiah chapter 47 today. Okay, so let us begin. I want to begin in Psalm 103. I want to begin in Psalm 103. I'm going to read Psalm 103. Psalm 103 is 22 verses long. And so we're going to begin in Psalm 103. Tonight's lesson is dealing with Isaiah chapter 47. And it's the annihilation of all pride and arrogance, of all pride and arrogance. The annihilation of all pride and arrogance. Psalm 103 starts off when we begin with verse 1 and go down to verse 7 to begin. Bless Yahweh, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name. Bless Yahweh, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits, who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases, who redeemeth thy life from destruction, who crowneth thee with loving kindness and tender mercies, who satisfieth thy mouth with good things, so that thy youth is renewed like the eagles. Yahweh executeth righteousness and judgment for all that are oppressed. He made known his ways unto Moses, his acts unto the children of Israel. And this is a theme, brothers and sisters, throughout the Bible, especially this is very strong in the Old Testament. It's also in the New Testament, but it's been distorted by Christianity. But it's a theme that he is revealing himself to the nation of Israel. And through the nation of Israel, he intended to reveal himself to the earth. It's a theme. And here it is again. He made known his ways unto Moses, his acts unto the children of Israel. And this is pretty clearly seen by most people that read the Bible. But what ends up happening, unfortunately, is because it's so clear, what you start to get is you start to get people generally from the Christian realm, but also in this Islam as well, trying to make excuses why this is not the case. For example, the Christians will say, well, either, these Israelites, the original Israelites are no more. They're lost. They're gone. And this doesn't apply to them anymore. So therefore, it applies to Christians now, because he started this new group called Christians, the Christianity group. And now all of these promises apply to them, right? Through Jesus, who died for our sins. That's what they say. Or they'll say, some of these churches will call themselves spiritual Israel. You even got some like Mormons that create 70 elders and so on and so forth with funny underwear and everything, trying to replace the original children of Israel. The Bible never says they will. Matter of fact, it says quite the opposite, that he will remember them, that he will not forget the covenant he made with their ancestors. Despite how ugly they got, he's going to redeem them after he brings them through the fire and bring them back to their land. So he has never forgotten them. Then you got the Ashkenazis that claim to be them, and they still looking for Messiah. They say he didn't come yet. See, so you have these words are very plain, and instead of taking them for as they are, that he made known his ways unto Moses, his acts to the children of Israel, or that he says, I am Yahweh, the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. I brought you out of slavery. My chosen were brought out of slavery. Instead of seeing that, they make excuse and act like it's not there. That's where you get what's called willful ignorance. And I want to tell you, willful ignorance is deadly, very deadly. Why is willful ignorance deadly? First of all, it's like it's lying. Okay. And again, I like to bring to every human being that is watching this, whether you are an Israelite by blood or not, I'll bring this to everybody. We've all lied. And some of us have gotten into lies in such a deep way that you have to keep lying to cover the previous lies. And in fact, if you get away with it, or you think you get away with it long enough, you actually start to believe your own lies. Now, that's when you're in big trouble. You're lying. In the beginning, you know you're lying. And then as time goes on, you start to actually believe your own lies. And that's what's happened. So people started lying to themselves about who the Israelites are, and then trying to replace them in one way or another, either with Allah and some Arabs, right? Or even my brother Malcolm X, who I love. If you watch me, you know he's one of my favorite human beings to ever walk the earth. He even said, which he learned from Elijah Muhammad, that all of these testimonies in the Old Testament were basically just stories that really not real. Okay. And that all these people were really Muslim, even though no Muslims existed at the time of the writing of these books. They didn't exist. Islam did not come into existence until the 8th century. Okay. No, I'm sorry. The 7th century. So it wasn't even in existence. Okay. So that's how desperate the devil is to use people to try to act like we don't exist anymore. But now in these last days, he is awakening his chosen. And you know, I came to a certain conclusion this week. All right. People of color that are on in the United States, right? We have been called, let's think of some of the names we have been called and have called ourselves. We have been called colored. Any of y'all old enough to remember when we was called colored? Yeah, right. We was called colored. We was called Negro. Is that correct? And y'all remember that? We was called Negroes, colored, Negro. In fact, they had scientists call us Negroid, of a race called Negroid, right? European scientists. And then we decided to be called Black, right? Black. That came during the 60s. Black came during the 60s with Malcolm X and with Stokely Carmichael, who later became Kwame Ture. They started calling about Black Power, became Black, right? That was a term I like to use, Black, because I used it in defiance. Because it was opposite of what they call white. And I was just trying to be defiant. To me, that's what it meant. Black just meant defiance to the system, to them. Then nowadays, what's it called now? Nowadays, it's African American, correct? African American, right? Right? African American. Is that correct? Right? So now, wait. I came to a conclusion today. Well, not today. It was this week. I'm going with this. ADOS. 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 What does ADOS stand for? Any of y'all know what ADOS stands for? ADOS? Y'all ever know what that stands for? Because I think it describes the situation quite perfectly, actually. A, African. D, descendant. O, of. S, slaves. African descendants of slaves. Y'all ever heard that? ADOS. That's actually out there. I didn't make it up. It's already out there. That's out in the universe already. People have already been using it, just not. But I thought that's more perfectly describing our situation. We came from the west coast of Africa. We are descendants of slaves. That's the chosen people of the nation of Israel, the African descendants of slaves. Because we're not Americans, so we can't say African American. And really, the color Black, we really, even the darkest of us, are really just dark shades of brown, right? I mean, really, right? We definitely not Negroids, okay? And we definitely not colored. I mean, that would make the other people colorless, right? So I decided I'm going to use ADOS. So you're going to hear me use ADOS, African descendants of slaves, ADOS, right? That's what I'm going to use. So anyway, The Ados is the true children of Israel, right? The Ados are the children of Israel, African descendants of slaves. Okay, Ados. So, and again, that's just me. I decided I'm going to use that. So the Ados, African descendants of slaves, they the true children of Israel that everybody's been trying to hide for couple thousand years now. Been trying to hide us and act like we don't exist. Do away from us. Do away with us. Okay, like we're invisible. Okay, let's continue. So he made known his ways unto Moses, his acts unto the children of Israel. Yahweh is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and plenteous in mercy. He will not always chide, neither will he keep his anger forever. He hath not dealt with us after our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. Even though the Ados were slaves, the Ados are oppressed, the Ados are afflicted and exploited, we have been treated mercifully, as ugly as that sounds. Why? Because we should be dead. We should no longer exist, right? Isaiah, which we study, and he said, if the Most High had not left unto us a very small remnant, we'd have been like Sodom and Gomorrah. And what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah? They don't exist anymore. It's the Dead Sea now. That's Sodom and Gomorrah. It's the Dead Sea. Right? They don't exist. So rather than wipe us out, which he didn't do, he kept us alive through fire, through the refining fire that no other people ever went through like that. It is estimated that 50 million human beings were taken from the west coast of Africa. About 50 million. Okay, some people say 10 million to 50 million. Most of those descendants of most of those slaves were taken to what's now called Brazil. Most of them were taken to Brazil. Okay, about 500,000 of them were taken to the shores of what is now called the United States of America, the Ados of the United States of America. And in spite of 400 years of slavery and oppression and genocide and experimentation and exploitation, the Ados went from 500,000 to 50 million. Because that's about how much of us are in the United States right now. 50 million. We went from 500,000, despite the most oppressive conditions, to 50 million. Okay? And that goes along with what Exodus tells us. It said the more the Egyptians oppressed them, the more they grew. That's what the Bible says. And the Egyptians were afraid of them. See? Our captors know that they only brought 500,000 of us here. They know what they did to us. See, we don't have to waste time explaining to them why we might be angry or why we are special. No, we don't need to waste time. They know what they did to us. They're trying to be cognitively dissonant. They've been lying to themselves so long that they start to believe the lie. They say, why are you all so angry? Why don't you get over it? And act like some law can change anything. Some law from man could change what has happened to us. No. But the fact, just think about that. We went from 500,000, right, in the 17th century, 500,000, to here we are in the 21st century, 4 centuries later, 50 million. That would scare anybody, particularly if you know what you've done to us, right? It would scare anybody. So that's why they are desperate to act like we don't exist. But you know what? That does not matter. It doesn't. It doesn't change the outcome of the prophetic word of Yah. It does not change his purposes. It does not change what he's going to do, which he's already set in motion before the foundation of the earth. As he set our slavery in motion, he has set our redemption in motion. He has set our deliverance in motion. And there's nothing anybody could do about that. The only question, as I always say, is what role of the prophetic word are you and I going to play? Are we going to play the role of the faithful that wake up and keep his commandments? Are we going to play the role of the willfully ignorant? Are we going to play the role of the sellout, of the Judas? What role are we going to play? See, there are some that try to ignore the whole thing and act like it doesn't exist. You can put your head under the covers, stick your head in the sand or any other crevice you want to. It's not going to go away. It's not. Let's continue reading. He will not always chide, neither will he keep his anger. He hath not dealt with us after our sins, nor rewarded us according to our iniquities. For as the heaven is high above the earth, so great is his mercy toward them that fear him. As far as the east is from the west, so far hath he removed our transgressions from us. Now we know that's through Messiah. He has removed our transgressions from us. And again, let me test y'all. Sister Josephine, I see you out there. Sister Tanya, I'm giving y'all a test question. I'm giving y'all a test question right now. Y'all in Power Talk, here comes a test question. He has removed our transgressions from us. Y'all hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. He has removed our transgressions from us. Okay? What has he replaced our transgressions with? He's taken away the transgression. So what has he replaced it with? He's taken the transgression away and replaced it with what? Praise the Most High. That's right. My labor is not in vain. Praise the Most High. That's right. He's taken away our transgressions through Messiah. That's right, Tanya. And he's replaced it with righteousness. And not just righteousness for the sake of righteousness, the Father's perfect righteousness. The Father's everlasting righteousness. That's what he's replaced our transgressions with. See, that is what's causing us to awaken right now. That's what's doing it. And not because we're good people. No, not because we're good people. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at that. Deuteronomy, my favorite book in the Bible, is Deuteronomy. I ain't ashamed to say it either. My favorite book in the Bible is Deuteronomy. That's my favorite one. Watch. Deuteronomy chapter 7. Deuteronomy chapter 7, reading from verse 6. From verse 6 down to verse 8. Deuteronomy chapter 7, from verse 6 to 8. Notice what it says. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy Most High. Yahweh thy Most High has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Can't do away with those words. Yahweh did not set his love, watch this now. He did not set his love upon you. Talking about us, Ados. The Ados. He did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people. For you were the fewest of all people. But because Yahweh loved you, and because he would, he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So he redeemed our fathers out of Africa also, Ados. and because why? Because he loved them and because he would keep his oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who he named Israel or Yashar'al. Father has not changed. He is the end and he is the beginning. He's Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end. Does not change. Therefore, he's still going to keep his oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He still loves us. That's why we're awakening right now. That's why it's happening. Okay? Back to Psalm 103. I'm going to start again from verse 12. As far as the east is from the west, so far hath he removed our transgressions from us. Like as a father pitieth his children, so Yahweh pitieth them that fear him. For he knoweth our frame, and remembereth that we are dust. As for man, his days are as the grass. As the flower of the field, so he flourished. For the wind passes over it, and is gone, and the place thereof shall know it no more. But the mercy of Yahweh is from everlasting to everlasting upon them that fear him, and his righteousness unto children's children, to such as keep his covenant, to those that remember his commandments to do them. His righteousness is unto children's children. He blesses grandchildren for the faithful children. His righteousness is unto children's children, and to such as keep his covenant, to those that remember his commandments to do them. Again, we're obedient to the covenant because of the spirit of righteousness that he gives us. We're obedient to the covenant because of the sacrifice made by Messiah to get us that righteousness. Yahweh hath prepared his throne in the heavens. His kingdom ruleth over all. Bless Yahweh, ye his angels, that excel in strength, that do his commandments, hearkening unto the voice of his word. Bless Yahweh, all his hosts, ye ministers of his, that do his good pleasure. Bless Yahweh, all his works, in all places of his dominion. Bless Yahweh, O my soul. He said, his kingdom rules over all. He hath prepared his throne in the heavens. His kingdom rules over all. That's the Father in the third heaven. See? Now we know David's going to rule in Jerusalem. Bible says it. We also know Messiah is going to be king of this earth, king of kings. But Father say his throne is in heaven. His kingdom ruleth over all. See? Praise the Most High. We praise Yah. He gives us the order. We don't have to worry about that. He gives us the order. We just have to be. All he's looking for from us is obedience. Fear Yah and keep his commandments. For this is the whole man. This is the whole man. This is the perfection of man, the completion of man. Respect and honor and reverence for Yah and obedience to his commandments. Praise the Most High. So we can see from this song that the kingdom of Yah, the character of Yah, the creator, is based in righteousness. Okay? His character and his kingdom is based in righteousness. Okay? His kingdom ruleth over all. Okay? Righteousness and truth are the foundation of his throne. Okay? That's the Bible. So his kingdom is based in righteousness. His servants, he redeems them because he loves them and because he keeps his promises. What he says is forever. As he can never die, neither does his word ever die. What he says is eternal. He keeps his promises. Therefore, he is merciful unto us. We don't deserve the blessings he's bestowing upon us, the promises in his word. And we take after our father, Jacob. Let's take a look. Genesis. Go to Genesis chapter 32. Genesis chapter 32. Yes. I want to just take a quick look at our father Jacob's prayer as he was about to meet his brother Esau. Now, brothers and sisters, at this particular moment that we're reading about in Genesis chapter 32, this is what is referred to in Jeremiah chapter 30 as the time of Jacob's trouble. This was the time of Jacob's trouble. Now, Jeremiah 30 indicates that all of Yah's people are going to go through a time of Jacob's trouble. As a matter of fact, Daniel chapter 12 verse 1 says, there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation. Now, brothers and sisters, those of us that are trusting in the Father through the grace given us in Messiah, those of us that are ready to receive the Spirit of the Father's righteousness and be by that righteousness obedient to his covenant. I want to give y'all a message for you specifically right now. The Father gives grace at the level we need grace. I want to make sure you hear me. Testing 1, 2, 3. I want to make sure you hear me. The Father doesn't give more grace than what you need. All right? He gives you grace to meet the moment that you're in. All right? He gives you grace to meet the moment that you're in. So I don't want any Israelite to be scared of the time of trouble. You should respect it. You should have respect. And you should be repentant. But I need you to understand, the Bible also says there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, Gabriel is talking to Daniel, and he tells Daniel, but thy people shall be delivered. Everyone found written in the book. There's a promise of deliverance in the time of trouble such as never was. Don't forget that. And that deliverance comes as a result of his grace. That grace is going to give us the power. That's what it does. It's giving us the power to stand. You see, when we get ready to do miracles and such, when we get ready to heal the sick and raise the dead, that's coming. It's not because, because we ate those. No, it's not because we ate those. It's because of the power that's going to be given to us. Messiah told the apostles, you shall receive power. So when you're reading the book that's called Acts of the Apostles, those acts were based in a lot of miracles that were done. That's why it's called Acts, what they did, Acts of the Apostles. That's what the book is called, Acts of the Apostles. And it's really a letter. It's a letter from Luke to a king, Theophilus, right? But it's Acts of the Apostles. Why? Because these are things that they did by the power that was given to them. And that's what we're looking for. There's no substitute for that power. We cannot accomplish what the Father has promised without it. So that's why I'm always imploring the listeners, please, humbly, repentantly, seek the Father's power. Seek his righteousness daily. Seek his power, because that's what he's promising to give to those that are faithful. That's what he's promising to give. Okay? Here's Jacob's prayer. Let's see. I'm going to start at verse 9 of Genesis 32. I'm going to start at verse 9. And I'm going to go from verse 9 down to verse 12. This is Jacob's prayer. Please take note of this prayer. It's a model. See, Messiah gave us a model prayer. Disciples say, teach us to pray. If they were studying the word the way Messiah wants us to, they'd have seen how to pray. Because Jacob told them. So did Daniel in Daniel chapter 9. Same thing. Messiah just basically, gave a synopsis of these prayers. Now watch this now. And Jacob said, or Yaakov, oh, the Most High of my, I'm going to read it just like it says. And said, O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, the Lord which said unto me, return unto thy country and to thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. Listen, I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over this Jordan, and now I am become two bands. Deliver me, I pray thee, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau. For I fear him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. And thou saidest, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. Notice what he did. He acknowledged he's not worthy. He acknowledged it. I'm not worthy of the least of your mercy. Before he did that, what he did, he recounted the command that was given him. You said return, I came. You said come here, I went. I went where you told me to go. Okay, I went where you told me to go, and you promised you're going to deal well with me. I'm not worthy of your mercy. But this is a situation I'm in right now. Please deliver me. I'm not worthy, but please deliver me. This is the situation I'm in. Please deliver me. That is going to be us very shortly. We're going to be led to flee into the wilderness. We're going to flee into the wilderness. And at some point, they're going to have the advantage, or at least they will think they do. And they're going to surround us. And they're going to be ready to kill us. Remember this prayer. As Jacob was delivered, so will we be. But remember what happened after that. Remember what happened after that. Let's start at verse 24. Genesis 32, beginning at verse 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall no more be called Jacob, but Israel, or Yasha'ah. For as a prince that has power with Yah and had prevailed. And so he blessed him. He was wrestling with the Most High Son, Messiah. He was. And Messiah blessed him there. Changed his name to right with the Most High. Brothers and sisters, at the moment when you think you're going to die, at the moment when you think you're in complete darkness and nobody's with you, that's what it's going to feel like in the time of Jacob's trouble. We're going to get to a point. Most High is going to have provided for us food and water while we're fleeing. He's going to take care of our clothes. He's going to take care of our hygiene. He's going to take care of us while we are fleeing, just like he did with our fathers. He's going to take care of us. And just like Jacob had just met with angels just prior to this. He had met with angels when he crossed the Jordan. But then came his brother, and death was staring him and his children and his wives in the face. And he was wrestling there. Although he was wrestling with Messiah, he was really wrestling with his own conscience. It's the same with us. Death is going to stare us in the face. And we got to hold on. See, he said, I will not let you go until I get the blessing from you, till I know of a surety that you've forgiven me and you're with me. We also are going to wrestle with our past, with all our sins that we confessed. See, at that moment, anybody that was faking, not going to make it. When you stand death in the face and it's too late to repent, you have to have already done it, like Jacob did. And when you're wrestling with all your past sins that are going to be brought before you in bright colors by Asatan to work on your mind, to cause you to give up, we will not let go until we get the blessing. That's when we will totally be separated from Babylon. At that moment, separation is complete. At that moment, the separation is complete. He changed his name to Israel at that moment. Now Jacob was now solidly with the Most High. See, before he was Jacob. Now his name is Yasha'al, which means right with the Most High. Yashar means to be right with. Al means the Most High. Yasha'al, that's his name. Because it's a representation of his new standing with the Most High. Brothers and sisters, the Bible does say our names are going to be changed also. We're all going to get new names as a result of that final separation from Babylon forever. Praise the Most High. So Yah's kingdom is based in righteousness, is based in a spirit from us of humility, acknowledgement of his blessings, and of his grace toward us. Quite the opposite is Asatan's kingdom. It's based in pride. It's based in arrogance. It's based in self. Let's take an example of it. Isaiah, which we've already read this. Isaiah chapter 14, we've already read this. But this is an example of Asatan's kingdom, of the spirit of Asatan's kingdom. You know, many of you already know the verses I'm getting ready to read, but I'm going to read it anyway. Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14. We're going to begin Isaiah chapter 14, beginning at verse 13, and go down to verse 15. From 13 to 15 of Isaiah chapter 14. We've already been through this chapter, but we're reading it for now because this goes with Isaiah 47 in terms of what we're going to be talking about in terms of Babylon, the spirit of both physical and now spiritual kingdoms of Babylon. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yah. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. No, brothers and sisters, you see how much arrogance, how much self, how much pride in that statement? And the whole earth that's against the Most High, all of these other religions with their gods, they have that spirit. They're looking for exaltation of self. Exaltation. Look at the competition. Now the Jesuits are now trying to end the competition, which they're going to do, because we're getting one world religion. But that's what the ecumenical movement's all about. But the competition for fannies among the churches, right? You got the Jehovah's Witnesses knocking on your door with their watchtower. They want to get in your house and convince you to join the what is it called there? The Jehovah's, what is Jehovah's Witnesses called? Kingdom Hall. Get you to join the Kingdom Hall. You got the SDAs that want to tell you they keep the seventh-day Sabbath, and they got Ellen White as the spirit of prophecy. And since they're the church of prophecy, you should join them. You got the Pentecostals telling you that they got the spirit, blah, 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 blah. And because they have the spirit, you need to join them. They vying each one. They're competing for souls. And they're all proud of their own denominations. Same spirit. Same thing. There's no salvation in denominations. Let me say that again. There is no salvation in denominations. Then you got the Islam telling you there's one God. Well, they're right about that. There's one God. But they don't worship him. Not that they bow down to a piece of stone in the Middle East. You ain't never blessed that. That was founded by an Arab. He never blessed that. Not if they don't have perfect righteousness covering their sin. You can't get nowhere without that. You better go get Messiah, the Hebrew one. of the tribe of Judah. You better go get him. I heard some of them try to be nice. They come to me and say, well, we believe Jesus was a prophet. That's disrespect. That is disrespect. Any Muslim out here listening to me, let me tell you right now, don't ever come to us and say, oh, we believe Jesus was a prophet. That's disrespect. It's like me telling you Muhammad was not a prophet. Disrespect. He's more than a prophet. He's the son of the Most High Yah, the only begotten of perfect righteousness. Don't you dare ever just call him a prophet. Okay, how many times a day you pray toward that stone? No, there's no salvation in that. There's no righteousness there. Good works won't get it done. Good works does not take care of your sin. Praying 5 times or 25 times a day toward Mecca does not take care of your sin. The Creator made Adam in perfection, and he's looking for that from us. You cannot get it without Messiah, who you just call a prophet. You can't get it without that, without him who became sin for the nation of Israel, who knew no sin, that the nation of Israel and those that connect themselves with him through the nation can become righteousness. And then you can be obedient to his law, to his covenant, which is not written in the Quran. I asked him, where's the covenant? Oh, it's kind of scattered through. They said it's kind of sprinkled through the whole Quran. Come on, man. He spoke from a mountain to the nation and made the covenant. Is that in there? No, but it's scattered through. Righteousness is here. That's what they kept telling these cats from Bangladesh. They couldn't. They were getting frustrated because they know what I'm telling them was true. It's not there. It's not there. So this is the spirit of Asatan. It's pride, it's arrogance, it's stubbornness, it's self-centeredness, self-exaltation of man. Remember what he told Eve? You could eat this fruit. Because he's just trying to stop you from being a God. He's just trying to stop you from being free, from being a God. So go ahead, disobey him. Listen to what I'm telling you. That's what she did too, didn't she? See, that's why the woman must be subservient from that point on, even before that, to the man. She has a tendency to want to be a god. A woman could be exalted. You want to have women chasing you? You want to have one? All you got to do is tell them they're goddesses. That's all you got to do. You are a goddess. That's what you're made to be. Brothers are telling them that, and there are 4 or 5 of them will line up behind one dude. They'll line up behind one man just because he says, you're a goddess. That go all the way back to Eve. No, the Most High made man in his image, and he made the woman in the image of the man. He made her for him. The pieces of her body that fit with the man was made for him, not the other way around. Now, of course, he's supposed to give honor to this thing that comes from him, just as the Most High blesses us. He say, the Bible tells us you treat her like you treat your own body. Some brothers act like they pimps, and these guys, I've seen some people acting like they call themselves Israelite, treating a woman like that she's like his piece on the street somewhere, and that he's supposed to be the pimp. That's what they do. Some of these cats are too young to be somebody's husband. I'm just noticing that. In their mind, they're too young. I know women are more mature, just naturally they have a maturity level higher than males generally. But some of these cats, sisters, it's better for you to be by yourself. Believe it. Be with the Father and his spirit. Sometimes it's just better. I know the world is telling you how lonely you are, right? I know that, but Man, some of these cats, man, they just, and I know it's hard. This is off the subject a bit, but I know it's hard because the devil has done a tremendous job destroying the brothers. He has. But remember the promises of Yah. He's going to awaken his men. He's doing it. And we need you sisters to pray for us. Pray for us and uplift us before the Most High. We need. We need it. Okay, we need it. And in doing that, you will also be blessed. See, notice I'm not telling you about giving your tithe somewhere you're going to be blessed, like the spiritual pimps do. Now, I'll tell you what, though, you bless the man that's made in Yah's image. You pray for him. You help him. And you know what? He's going to take care of you. He's going to bless you if you do that. Okay, he's going to do that. Because that's what it is. Every man that is not awakened to the righteousness of Yah, that is not awakened to his spirit, every man that has not done that is still asleep and has not fulfilled his destiny. I'm talking about the Eidos. Not fulfilled himself yet. Even if he has a conscious understanding that he is Eidos and he is the real Israelite, if he doesn't surrender to the spirit of the Father, he ain't got it yet. It takes more than a theoretical understanding of this truth. You have to have tasted it. You have to have experienced that righteousness. And if you have, it will humble you. It will humble you. It will. Okay? So Asatan's kingdom is one of pride. It's one of arrogance. You know, today I was looking, there's a website and it's a YouTube channel, and I'll promote it here because I follow it. It's called Invisible People. It's this Caucasian man. He was homeless, and the Most High blessed him to overcome the homelessness. So what he does is he finds homeless people, and he goes to all the cities. He's gone to cities even around the world, but mostly in the United States, and he looks for the homeless people, and he gives them socks. He tries to get them some supplies, and he interviews them and asks how they became homeless, what would they wish to happen, and then he puts them, he gets them, and he gets whatever donations he gets. He helps certain homeless people so that they can get housing, so they can get out, maybe get a job, they can get cleaned up. Because not all homeless people, despite what the so-called conservatives are telling you, they're not lazy, they're not all drug addicts, they're not all alcoholics. It's this capitalist economy that's just destroying everything. It's really what it is. It's this capitalist system, and it's corrupt and it's destroying. Matter of fact, that's kind of bringing us into this arrogance and pride of Babylon. Let's talk about that. And I'm only going to talk about recent history, but even though if you go back when the Roman Catholic Church was established and Christianity was established, at the height of its power was what they call the Middle Ages, right? The Middle Ages, the height of its power, which was the darkness of the earth. Now, at that time, the way the economy worked at that time is you had rich people that were landowners and people that lived on their land. Therefore, they were landlords, and they would collect money from the people that lived on there. They called them estates. Mostly this was in Europe. So they would take, they would take land and they would have land, and people had to pay to live on the land. And they were called landlords. And what the Roman Catholic Church did is they made these landlords, who were the 1%, we call them the 1% today, right? They were the richest people. And they made these landlords and these rich families, they made them bishops and archbishops and cardinals and such. They bestowed titles on them because they were giving money to Rome. Okay, they were giving money to Rome, and Rome was getting them ducats. And therefore, they gave them titles, and they even gave them power to forgive people of their sins just because they were rich. So what you had is you had a class that was poor and a very tiny class that was rich. Does that sound familiar? And then you had the church that was getting rich off the rich class. Does that sound familiar? Okay. Now, in the United States, that wasn't the original system that was set up. The original system that was set up in the United States was a system whereby you had a large middle class. Now, it was never set up to bless the Eidos. The Eidos do not count on what I'm saying because it was never intended for them. But for the rest of the folks, for the European, it was supposed to be a large middle class. Okay, they had systems set up so that you had companies and you had wealthy people, certainly, But then they had to pay taxes and help the middle class. And then you had the poor still, which was mostly ADOs, us. Okay. And it was doing very well for the Caucasians at large. That system, it was doing very well for them. Okay. ADOs always struggled. Then came the 1980s, and a man named Ronald Reagan, who was otherwise known as Ronald Wilson Reagan. This man was an actor who became a politician, was governor of California during the time of the Black Panthers. And he became governor of California, then he became president. Ran in 76 and lost, ran again in 80 and won. Okay. Ronald Reagan started giving tax cuts. He called it trickle-down economics and supply-side economics. And he started giving tax cuts to the wealthiest people and the wealthiest corporations. And then he was increasing the military, making people feel proud. What he did, when he did that, he was putting everybody in debt, because what he was doing, he was cutting taxes. Now, just to make a long story short, the governments in general run on the taxes they receive from the people. All the benefits you get from government come from taxes. Okay, so if you cut the taxes, that means you got to cut the benefits. Or if you don't cut the benefits and you cut the taxes, there's going to be what's called a deficit, which means you're going to have owed more money than you have. And under Ronald Reagan, deficits started exploding. But what was going on at the same time, he was putting a tremendous amount of money in the military. So he was cutting taxes, getting less revenues in taxes from the richest people, because that's where it came from, and spending more money on the military. So at that time, see, my father worked for a military contractor. As a matter of fact, I grew up on Long Island in New York. And at that time, during that time, I was in Suffolk County, Long Island. And it was in U.S. News and World Report at that time that Suffolk County, Long Island was the best place for Black people to live in the United States. It was the top place. And why? Because all of the Black people that we moved out, my father and my mother from Jamaica, they moved out to the eastern part of Long Island when nobody was out there at that time. There was a place between Nassau County and when you get all the way out where the real rich people are in the Hamptons, in between there is a large piece of land, and it was nothing out there. And so they were begging people to come out there. And one of the draws was Grumman, the aerospace giant, that time was putting a base out there to build planes and to build military equipment. My father was fortunately enough to get there. My mother first, and then she got my father in. And then a lot of the people from my neighborhood worked there. And then there was another big employer called Long Island Lighting Company. They always expanded. A lot of people would come from Brooklyn Union Gas. Then there was, there was expanding, and that caused Black middle class like most places didn't have. And even that, it was almost like a Rosewood. It was almost like a Black Wall Street. It wasn't quite that prosperous, but because they sectioned us off, they sectioned our neighborhood off. The Black neighborhood was sectioned off. We did not mind it because everybody in the Black neighborhood had their own houses. Even the poorest people had their own houses, and everybody was doing okay. Nobody was rich, but nobody was struggling. And my father worked 7 days a week because Reagan was pumping so much money into the military, and the military put it out in contracts and to these defense. Not that it was Electric Boat. There was Pratt and Whitney. There was a lot of these government contracting people. They were in different parts of the country, in Georgia, Texas, California, and New York. My father was working 7 days a week for years because they had so much work. But as a whole, the ADOs were struggling. Unemployment was high. I remember I was trying to get a job. We had 24% unemployment in the Black neighborhood. And I was a teenager trying to get a little part-time gig. Okay, it was hard. But if you were working in those areas, you were getting blessed. And my father got blessed, but he was fortunate. Most of the ADOs struggled. Okay. And the economy was changing so that the rich were getting richer and the poor were getting poorer. That's what's going on. And people did not see what was coming until now. And even now, they're trying to convince you that you're not seeing what you see. What do you see? You see 1%. During this COVID virus, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, the Walton family that own Walmart and Costco, they've all increased their wealth by tens of billions just over the last 3 months. You don't understand that that's planned? That this whole thing was planned? And the people that are struggling the most are the people that were middle class and below. That's the economy they want. That's the economy Rome wants. Okay? And what do we got? The people on television, on Fox News and MSNBC and CBS, and CNN, they telling you, oh, you don't want to change. You want to change gradually. They've been telling us that for a long time. It got to the point where Dr. Martin Luther King said, justice delayed is justice denied. So they bring forth these candidates and they're going to change nothing. They brought forth a blackface in Barack Obama and everybody sat back. Thought Barack Obama was going to do nothing. He ain't do nothing for us, not for ADOS. He ain't do nothing. The best thing about Barack Obama's presidency, honestly, was to me, was the day he drove up to the White House and I saw George Bush and his wife meet him at the White House. That was the best day. Because now you're seeing somebody that looks like a black man walking in with his, and especially with his wife, Michelle, walking into the White House. Now, they ain't do jack for us. I mean, they ain't do nothing for us. But I just wanted to see that. And I think a lot of black people felt the same way. Just wanted to see it. That's all. I just wanted to hear somebody say Mr. President to a black man. But what it caused us to do was take our eye off the ball. He didn't do nothing for us. He didn't do nothing for us. What he did, he killed more innocent people in the Middle East with drones. He deported more people from Spanish people from struggling countries. He did more dirt in the Central America. He just continued the current trend, the current system. He made the rich richer and the poor poorer. That's what he did. At least with the current orange president, he did the same thing, but at least he told you that's what he's going to do, right? You can see it. But this cat right here, he fooled everybody. So you can see the economy is shifting so that there's no more middle class. It's just shrinking. And now you can tell it's shrinking because even the Caucasians are feeling it. That's why you got them in what? Opioid crisis. The number one killer of Caucasian males in mid-40s is suicide because they're feeling that shrinkage of the middle class and they ain't used to that. Because their daddies didn't have to deal with that. Their daddies didn't have to deal with that. And so they're feeling it. And they can't deal with it. See, we've been dealing with this. The ADO's been dealing with it in this country for 400 years. Seriously. So I'm not saying it's easy, but we used to it. We kind of almost expect it. They're not used to it. And that's when you see it happening, you know what I'm saying? And so they's like, oh, this opioid crisis, we got to do something about it. Well, the only thing they could do is expand the middle class. I don't know if they're going to do that. What they're going to do, though, is get you more dependent on the government. That's what they want to do. Because that's part of Revelation 13. That's part of Rome's plan. And they want the corporations to get richer. That's where you come, Revelation chapter 18. Revelation chapter 18. Let's take a look at Revelation chapter 18. Now, this is the 144,000 and the message they're going to bear with the power they're going to receive. But I want to focus on what happens to the merchants. Notice this now. Revelation 18, we'll begin at verse 1. And I'm going to go down from verse 1. And I'm going to go down from verse 1. And I'm going to go from verse 1 down to verse 14, 15, 1 to 15. I'm going to go in sections of 5. 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. That's the power of Yah given to the 144,000. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils and the hole of every foul spirit and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants, that's your corporations, of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. That's the corporation. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, that ye receive not of her plagues. See, this message is given just before the plagues fall as a warning. Strong warning from the 144,000, just before the plagues fall. Okay? For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yah hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much has she glorified herself and lived deliciously? See, pride, arrogance. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. That's pride and arrogance. I was talking about the dude from Invisible People. I was looking at one of his videos, and a couple of people that are in California, in Southern California, that are homeless. If you are homeless and on the street in Southern California, and you sleep on the street because you got no place to go, the city will fine you. They'll put you in jail for that. So you've been laid off, down on your so-called luck. Life is messed up, and you got nothing. Got no job, got no money, just the clothes on your back or whatever you can carry in a bag. And you got no place to sleep, so you sleep in a park, on a bench, on a sidewalk. And they'll fine you and arrest you. Now that's arrogance. Who does that? These are rich people who don't want to see you. That's what it is. Rich people complaining to the government because they're saying, I don't want to see that. Oh, that's ugly. He's sleeping on the street. I can't walk down the street. Instead of them helping, instead of them passing laws to build housing or to clothe the people, to help them get a shower or a job yet, which they could do, they complain about it. And they fight. That's arrogance. That's arrogance. That's the height of arrogance right there. Somebody ain't got nothing, and you finding him money. He ain't got no money. He can't sleep nowhere, and you finding him. Then there's other places, they got shelters, but they'll charge the people $10 to go sleep in there. If you ain't got no money, what you gonna do to get $10? You gotta beg. So they reduce the people to begging just to get a place of sleep. That's arrogance. That's pride. That's Babylon. See, Babylon is the world, and the world starts with a spirit, and the spirit is pride and arrogance. The spirit, it starts with an attitude of self. Oh, some of these people will say, oh, they're homeless because they lazy. That's what they say. You heard it. Oh, they're homeless because they lazy. Brothers and sisters, if you see the word, the Most High had a program for poor people. He had a program for them. The tithe was supposed to go to the poor and the Levite, not to some fat pimp church pastor or some large church organization, 501c3 corporation. No, it was to go to the poor, the fatherless, and the widow, along with the Levite. Because Levi didn't get no inheritance. Okay, that's where the money was supposed to go. And once a year, they'd come together and bring all the tithe to Jerusalem. And all the brethren that were poor would get what they wanted. That's how you did it. And every 3 years, they built it up, and then they brought, can you imagine? Nobody would be hungry. And then if you're a farmer, and most of them were farmers, you couldn't farm everything. The edge of your field, whatever you were growing, olives, crops, corn, whatever you were growing, you're not supposed to take the edges. The edges are for the poor, the fatherless, and the widow. If you had fruit trees, you're only supposed to hit them once and get whatever fruit you got. The rest of it you leave for the poor, the fatherless, and the widow. Every 50 years, all land and homes were restored to the original family. So nobody's going to be perpetually poor. That's the economy of kingdom of Yah. That ain't what we got now. Every 7 years, all debts were forgiven. Forgiven. You ain't had to declare bankruptcy. Forgiven. Every 7 years. Make sure debt wasn't supposed to be part of the deal. See, that's y'all's economy. This arrogant stuff we got here. Notice again, how much has she glorified herself and lived deliciously? So much torment and sorrow give her. She says in her heart, I sit a queen, am no widow, shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine. She shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Most High Yah who judges her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and live deliciously with her, that's the governments, shall bewail and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. The merchants and the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buy their merchandise anymore. That's what I'm saying to y'all. The money's going to be in the street. You're going to see gold and silver and money and jewels in the street. Ain't nobody picking it up because it ain't going to be worth nothing. You can't buy nothing. See, as they try to stop us from buying and selling, Most High going to turn their whole economy upside down. Ain't nothing going to be worth nothing when he poured them plagues on. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones, of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. This is what Babylon deals in. See, brothers and sisters, look, the ADOS, that's us, chattel slave victims. That's a chattel slave victim. But let me tell you something. Everybody that was middle class, everybody that's poor, everybody that's below that 1% or the top 10%, say, in Babylon, you're a slave. You got to show up for work every day to get a salary. You're selling your time for what you can get. You're not selling yourself for what you're worth. You're selling it for what you can get, what the corporations say you're worth. That's a slave right there. When you work for anybody, you are selling your time. That's what you're doing. All of us do it. I do it. You work and you're selling your time. This is the system we live in. And look, very few of us not in debt now. Very few of us not in debt. Oh, a lot of people in debt. If you not, you blessed. I know I am. See, my father did okay, but when I got to be 18, he said, you on your own. Yes, you on your own, son. And I got 3 degrees on my own. Well, I can't lie. He helped me with the first one. He did. But the next 2 was on me. And my children, I ain't heard from him about my children, and I had to borrow from my children. We're an educated family. My wife got one. She got a degree. I got 2 daughters with 2 degrees. I got 2 sons with a degree. And me, I got 3. And you know what we got? A lot of education and a lot of debt. That's what Babylon does. Put you in slavery. See? Now, as ADOS, we were chattel slaves. And we always been struggling. We always been struggling. But now they got the whole world in debt. Right? They got the whole world in debt. That's how this game is. See what I'm saying? But now, their whole game is going to be destroyed. The whole system of debt and banking, gangsters and banksters, it's going to be destroyed. And the 144,000 is going to give the warning. The 144,000 is going to give the warning. Yes, it is. Yes, they are. And it's right before the plagues fall. Because when the plagues fall, all these things are going to happen. Okay? That thy soul lusted after are departed from thee. And all things which are dainty and goodly are departed from thee. And thou shalt find them no more at all. And the merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand far off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. That's see, that's going to make me happy. Yes, it is. That's going to make ADOS happy. Yes, it is. Praise the Most High. Yeah. Praise the Most High. Now let's go to Isaiah chapter 47, because it's saying the same thing that we just read in Revelation 18. It's the same thing. Yeah. See, the prophets repeat these things. This is in Isaiah. This is in Jeremiah. This is in Revelation. The prophets repeat these things. Why? Because they're only one God. His name is Yah. He got one spirit, the perfect spirit of righteousness that he gives to his servants, the prophets. That's all. That's why they all say the same thing. They could be centuries apart, and they all say the same thing. Here, Yachan and John the Revelator, at the end of the first century. Here you got Isaiah, the prophet, that happened before Nebuchadnezzar came, before the captivity, before the first captivity. Isaiah came on the scene, and then you had Jeremiah, who came on the scene at the time of the first captivity. All of them say the same thing. Praise Yah. Okay. Isaiah chapter 47. Isaiah chapter 47. Same thing. Watch here. Watch here. Beginning at verse 1. Beginning at verse 1, going down to verse 4. Isaiah 47, 1 to 4. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldean. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstone, grind meal. Uncover thy locks and make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. As for our Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts is his name, the set apart one of Israel. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldean, for thou shalt no more be called the lady of kingdoms. See, she proud. She's like a queen. Queen has servants. Wasn't she called the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth? She was so bad that John looked at her and marveled with great admiration, so that the angel had to shake him and say, hey, man, don't marvel at her. She's a hoe. He had to do. Don't marvel at her. Let me tell you the judgment of this whore. But he was marveling at her, because all the kings of the earth were paying her. They was all in bed with her. And they was paying her. That's how you doing right now with the Roman Catholic Church, the Vatican City. All the churches submit to her. All the religions submit to her. All the leaders. Listen, wait till the next presidential election if you're fortunate and I'm fortunate enough to still be alive at that time. Watch what happens after they inaugurate it within like 3 months. Even before, you will see, even like this fall, a cardinal in New York will have a dinner. And the two that's usually there, Democrat, Republican, or whoever, they're going to come to this dinner. It's held by the cardinal, the archbishop in New York for Rome. And they all got to come. They're going to meet with the Pope also. And then whoever's elected, that person and their spouse, or whoever, they're going to go to the Vatican. That's been happening since Reagan. Reagan the one started that. He opened diplomatic relations with the Vatican. He's the first president to do that. That was a sign at the end. Okay, and that they do it now. Every president does it. And as far as diplomatic relations, a diplomat comes from the Vatican to the White House. Usually, sometimes he comes, but then sometimes the Pope comes himself. And when the Pope comes, it's a big deal. You see all the networks cover that. Why do you think all the networks cover that? They're acknowledging who their master is. And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And she had on her forehead a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. That's what we're seeing right now. All these corporations in bed with the dark side. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against powers, against principalities, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. See? And they got, Christians thinking, Jeff Bezos is blessed. And they mean all these billionaires are blessed because they got all this money. Those are the devil's people. Would you call Satan's operatives blessed? Is that because that's what they're doing? When you think somebody's blessed because they got a lot of money, what you're doing is you're blessing Satan's business. That's what you're doing. You're blessing his business. Yah has nothing to do with greenbacks. The creator that speaks things into existence doesn't need man's money. He can speak man out of existence if he wants to. As a matter of fact, the Bible said, the Messiah said, I'm going to fight against him with the sword of my mouth, because all he's going to do is say a word. And the war is over. So brothers and sisters, watch what you say. I'm talking to you Christians. Bill Gates is blessed. He got a lot of money. When so-and-so is blessed, they rich. They blessed, they hit lotto for 100 million. That's our Satan that's giving them that. All these things, he said, will I give you, he told Messiah. All these things and the glory of them I'll give you if you bow down and worship me. Brothers and sisters, Messiah did not take the deal, but thousands of people have and are trying to break down the walls to get it. Isaiah chapter 47. Starting again at verse 5. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called Lady of Kingdoms. Watch verse 6. I was wroth with my people, the Ados. I have polluted mine inheritance, the Ados, and given them into thine hand, the Ados. Thou didst show them no mercy, the Ados. Upon ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And thou said, I shall be a lady forever. So thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. See, they're arrogant, they proud, they think they can get away with this forever. Oh, we done got rid of them Israelites, we done got rid of them. We done create our own Israelites. We put them into place. We already got it. We got the television station. We got the corporation. We got all the gold and the money. We got the guns. We got the bombs. Oh, we control everything. We ain't seen no power yet. They ain't seen it yet. But they will very shortly. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thy heart, I am and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come upon thee in a moment. Just like it said in Revelation. In one day, the loss of children and widowhood. A day in Bible prophecy equals a year. It's going to come. They shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. See, they mention sorcery and enchantment, spiritual wickedness in high places. Why do you think the most powerful military operation in the world is in this place called the Pentagon, shaped like a pentagram, like the same shape pentagram that they got in the state of Israel? Pentagon, pentagram, Satan. Spiritual wickedness in high places. Brothers and sisters, why do you think they got that giant phallic symbol that you see when you approach Washington, D.C.? The same phallic symbol that they had, that they got right now in the Vatican, which they stole from ancient Egypt. Satan. It only looks like a lamb, but it speaks like a dragon. All right, Isaiah chapter 47. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it ariseth. And mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to pull it off, to put it off. See? They can't do nothing about this one. See, these plagues right here, these man-made stuff, this controlled stuff, the first couple of ones, that's all right. But when you get to them last 7, they're going to be a problem. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Mm-hmm. See, as the Ados, as the true Israelites, we are going to know. We're going to know. Okay? We're going to know. Because he's going to show us, because we're his chosen. He's going to show all of those that's in the olive tree. Those grafted into the olive tree, the natural branches of the olive tree, and those regrafted back in, that's the Ados, he's going to show us. So we're not going to be surprised. But they're not paying no attention to us. They're not paying no attention to Yah. So they're going to be shocked. They're going to be scared. You understand? They're going to be scared. Their heart's going to fail for fear. Let's continue. Now he's making fun of them. Verse 12. Stand now with thine enchantments, with thy multitude of thy sorcerers, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit. If so be thou mayest prevail. Yeah, they believe in that astrology stuff, that black magic stuff, that pentagram stuff. Let's see if that saves them from this. Let's see if that stops them last 7 plagues. Let's see if that stops the awakening. Let's see if it stops Messiah return. Let's see if it stops. It will not. He said, see if you can do that. See if that'll pull it off for you. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander everyone to his quarter. None shall save thee. That's what we're dealing with, brothers and sisters, ox and akaz. Trust in the word of Yah. See, this is the thing about Yah's word. The people of this earth and the non-believers, they don't see any of this what we're talking about. They don't even believe it if they did see it. Well, we believe it. We who are the true Ados, the true children of Israel, we believe it. Okay? And we trust in it. And we hoping. We are saved by hope. We are hoping for it. Because this is our hope. Marching in the streets ain't going to get it done. Anarchy ain't going to get it done. We can burn stuff. What they going to do? So we burn it, right? We burn it down to the ground. And I totally understand. I'm not trying to chastise the brothers and sisters that are out there feeling frustrated and burning stuff to the ground. I'm not chastising them. I'm not. But I'm saying this. It ain't going to change nothing. It's like when you drink some wine. You drink some wine, you feel good. When you drink the wine, then it wears off. Right? You feel good, then it wears off. It makes you happy for a little while, then it wears off. Right? So you can burn down a Target. You can burn down, like the sister said, you can burn down this stuff because we don't care. We don't own it. But what they're going to do? They're going to just build it back. These corporations, they're going to just build it back. This is their game. This is the game they're in. This is what they do. This is how they set up the system. But when we turn to the Creator and we trust in his righteousness, there's angels that are powerful that will be given, that will be let loose. Remember now, there's 4 angels holding back the winds that they should not blow on the earth nor hurt it until the servants are sealed in their foreheads. That's going on right now. They hold on to the winds and they starting to slip, let it go because it's almost time. And when they let it go, when them angels are let loose and them winds are let loose, there is nothing Babylon will be able to do about it. There is nothing. It won't be us burning their mess down. It'll be them angels destroying it, going buck wild on it. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Can you imagine? One angel killed 180,000 or 280,000 or 180,000 of Assyria's men when they came against Israel. One angel. One angel came through the whole nation of Egypt and killed all the firstborn. A whole nation of people, millions of people. One angel. Imagine now. He let loose all the forces on this earth. Brothers and sisters, it's coming. And our protection is in the seal of Yah's spirit, in our favor with him, that the angels protecting us, that's going to be destroying this earth. There's something that's going to be protecting us that's just sent for our protection. Remember what Messiah said? He said, don't you know? If I want to, my father sent me 12 legions of angels. And then all this. But he said, I'm letting y'all have it. This is your hour. I'm letting y'all have it. This is your hour right here. Power of darkness. Well, their hour is just about up. Just about up. And we need to be prepared. And we need to be prepared because, as you can see, they're not going to believe it. They're not going to see any signs. They're not going to believe anything I'm saying right now. People that are in Babylon, they don't care. But I don't care what they care about. What I'm caring about is my people. The grafted ones, the ADOS and the grafted in ones among us, the strangers and the ADOS, that's my people. I want us to be prepared. And the Most High is going to have us be prepared. And I want to do my part by giving you all this word. I don't want no money. I do need your prayers to stay faithful. I'm just as bad a rascal as anybody I'm talking about. But I'm just telling you, it's about that time. It's about that time, brothers and sisters. It's about that time. May the Most High bless you to be prepared. May he guide you to stand strong and firm for this truth. May he seal you with the power of his eternal and perfect righteousness. May you become a replication of the Messiah. Amen.